Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's show on the Gamut Network. I love spending time with the guests that we have today, and I'm so thrilled to welcome Krystal to the show. Hi, Krystal.
Hello. How
So
are you,
wonderful
my
to see
dear?
you. You look gorgeous as always.
Look at you in your hat, looking good. I love it. I love
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Krystal, can you tell everybody a little bit about your who you are, your experience, your disability? I want everybody to know the magic of Krystal.
Okay. My name is Krystal Bailey. I'm not a New Yorker. I'm a Chicagoan, but I've been living in New York almost 10 years. In May, it'll be 10 years. That's crazy.
Wow.
I know. I am a vocational rehabilitation counselor for the state of New York. So I assist people with disabilities to either enter the workforce for the first time or assist with people who acquired their disability and help them with accommodation so they can either do the same job they did or get them trained so they can do another job because employment is needed, obviously.
Yeah, so 80% of people with disabilities unemployed, right?
Exactly. It's a tough population, but we make it work.
I love that.
No worries. I have spina bifida. I was born with my disability. I am the youngest of 4, and I'm the only one in my family with a disability, but I love how my mother raised me. I have 3 older brothers, so I'm a little spoiled, just a little bit.
As you should be.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
But my mother raised me just like she raised her boys. I had to wash clothes. I had to do chores. I had to, do my homework. She had expectations of me. So it was just a normal childhood. Yes, disability had me in hospitals a lot, had a lot of hospital stays, but I had great social workers, great support systems to help me get through it. And here I am.
I mean, and let's just not forget that word.
Thank you so much.
So for those watching the show that may not know what spina bifida is, can you give us a little bit of a description of what that is and what that means for you physically?
Okay, so I'm going to be very, very, very simple with it.
Yes.
It might not be the right terms, but pretty much when I was born, the spinal column at the bottom wasn't already developed. So once my mother had me, some of my nerves got damaged to affect my lower extremities. So I use a wheelchair. I can walk, but I have to walk with crutches and braces, and it's a struggle sometimes. That's why I have my handy chair. So yeah, that's pretty much. Some people have shunts. I don't. I just have limited mobility in my lower extremities.
And how does that affect your everyday life? Because in the time that I've spent with you, it didn't seem like much was stopping you. And you were, guns a-blazing. So does it affect your everyday life, or this is just your everyday life?
I think it affects my everyday life because I interact with other people. So
yeah.
Me, maybe, well, not now, but, traveling on the trains and public transportation, and I'm going out with, maybe my sorority sisters or just coworkers. I have to let them know, okay, where's the address? So I know if the elevator is working. I need to make sure that the restaurant has accessible bathrooms. So it still affects me, but I think with the people that I associate with, they start thinking beforehand before they start inviting me out. So it's not as frustrating as it can be.
Absolutely. And you know what, that's such an important thing that you just brought up, because when we go out, if it's just my husband and I, we don't have to think about if there's stairs to get in, if the bathroom's accessible, if the door is wide enough for a wheelchair. And these are all things that are probably very much a part of your everyday thought process for everything that you do. And I think that comes with a lot of sadness for me to hear that, in that how in the world is that just not how it is? That
right. How is it still okay?
How is it still in 2020 that you would have to do that pre-investigation? And I love that the people that you surround yourself with, obviously that's a part of their process now too, to really think through those type of things. we have a little
Exactly.
experience with that because I have to think about that with Oliver in different ways because he's not in a chair,
Right.
but he does struggle with stairs and all of that. So,
And long distances and everything. Oh, yeah.
exactly.
Oh,
But
yes.
I think that is something that, I really want to underscore and underline for people watching this show that we all take that for granted. That
Just a little bit.
go to a restaurant and not even think about those things,
Right.
or that probably is not possible for you not to do the pre-work. How does that not become a frustration for you, or is it just something that is a part of your process?
It's a part of my process, but also just being in the city and knowing that I'm an avid traveler, I know where I am. What's the word I'm looking for? I know where I am accepted and not just tolerated. So
Right.
those are the places I go to. So I have like go-to restaurants here. I have go-to, airports that I prefer than traveling to different airports. So it's just a learning experience as I go. It's still frustrating every day. It's still, but
And
until.
wow, what powerful words. Accepted versus tolerated. Do you find that there are still places that you are
Of course.
tolerated?
Of course. I think the best place not even the best place, but the best environment to think about is restaurants in general.
Yeah.
They don't think about the layouts. They don't think about, we have accessible seating, but you can only sit right here in this one spot where everyone else has the option to sit, if it's outside, if it's in the balcony area. So that's where I feel tolerated at. Like, yes, we made a spot for you.
Right. So checking
your
off
only
the
spot.
box.
Exactly.
We're adaptive. They are accessible, so to speak.
Exactly. So I tend to stick away from those.
How about even getting to the restaurants, whether it's public transportation or talk to me a little bit about if you take Uber, for example.
I take Lyft. I like Lyft better because they have more wheelchair accessible vans in the area that I live in. I live in the Bronx. Uber I only take when I'm coming from Manhattan going to the Bronx because it's just easier.
Okay.
Very, very interesting. Obviously there's specific train stations. I'm blessed enough to live between two train stops that have elevators. So there's always one at least working, which is kind of sad to think about, but I live between two. So it's convenient, but it's still an inconvenience that I have to, just think about my environment of, okay, which line has the most elevator stops and things of that nature.
Right. So everybody out there listening, we have some work to do. We have to get our world more accessible. This is hard to get my head around, and I live this life, but it's hard for me to get my head around that we are still where we are in the year of 2020. But Krystal, do you think, has it gotten better over the course of your life?
In some areas, yes. But I also, like I said in the beginning, I surround myself with people that make the world accessible. So about 2 years ago, post Maria, I went to Puerto Rico, and we know that was just a lot. But it was just wonderful. The people I went to, they had to, maybe had to carry me up some steps or push my chair through the sand, but it wasn't an issue. So they made it accessible. So I tend to surround myself with people like that, and just, do the research before I go. Yeah.
Well, we are going to make that happen in our lifetime. I promise you that.
Of course. Slowly but surely.
So now I want to talk about something that is very important and is your passion, and that is volunteering, which I love so much, because I know that there are people out there that will say, oh my God, somebody in a wheelchair volunteers is amazing. But can you tell us a little bit about what you do, why you do it, and why it's your passion?
Yeah. I started volunteering at a young age. I just always had the urge to just help people. I don't know if that's just the way my mother raised me, or that's just embedded from however I got here. but I just love the helping spirit. And I started really volunteering in undergrad. I was a part of a social service club when I lived in California, and one of the main core values was volunteering. So we had to do volunteer projects. So this was embedded in me.
And you were no exception, which I love.
Not at all.
No exception.
Not at all. So this was embedded in me. So it's ingrained in me. I don't feel like myself if I'm not trying to volunteer at least once a month of doing something. I currently am a team leader for New York Cares, which is a volunteer program out here in New York that pairs volunteers and a variety of organizations and different types of populations. Kitchening or helping with people to get their citizenship. I've done that a couple of times, which is interesting, and I'm not bilingual. It was really crazy, but it works. So yeah, I volunteering just makes me happy because it makes me feel like I'm giving back to what I have taken out of the community or whatever support I can do.
I love that, and I think it just goes to, really underscore the theme of our whole show, which is that people with disabilities are just people too.
Exactly.
That can volunteer, that can go to college, that can be as fabulous as you.
College was crazy.
Yeah. And where did you go? Where did you go to?
I got my bachelor's degree at St. Xavier University in Chicago, Illinois. And I got that in organizational communications. And I got my master's from Illinois Institute of Technology.
Amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love it. Now, before we go, I'd like to ask our guests one final question that I think is something that is critically important to everybody's life. And that's the notion of having some type of vision board, something that you can put your hopes and dreams and wishes and have it in front of you to say, I'm going to accomplish this in my life. And has been very important to my growth and my goals. As I like to share, on my board, I have Oprah, I have Ellen, that we are, together, and I'm actually sitting on Ellen's couch with her.
Manifesting that, yes, it's going to happen.
And actually on my board, I have doing a talk show for people with disabilities. So I think we're living it.
There you go, right there.
Tell me who or what would be on your vision board.
I do vision boards differently. I am a big fan of affirmations. So I have about 6 affirmations above my bed, and they're in yellow paper. So I can see them as soon as I get up. And each of them is geared to a particular aspect of my life that I want to enhance.
Love it.
So one of them is, what is it? I am highly regarded in my field of choice. Opportunities for advancements are flowing to me every day. Because I need I need more opportunities in order to feel the way I feel. Others were maybe just dealing with self-esteem. So I had one that I am a radiant beauty. I am.
You are.
But sometimes you don't feel that way, so you got to put those reminders in there.
Which is why I put this hat on, because I wasn't feeling like a radiant beauty, but now I do.
It's okay. So I do a lot of affirmations. I do a lot of bulletproofs. I have journals. I do journals. So I do a lot of quotes from people. So, I may not have their picture of, Michelle Obama, but I might have a quote that I have to keep on looking at, like, yes, do that, Krystal. Okay. That's what you're supposed to do. So I tried
to favorite quote. What is a quote that means something so powerful to you?
I have a friend in Chicago, lovely lady. Her name is Sarita Love, and she has this quote that says, they say it's windy at the top. Thank God I'm from Chicago. Chicago is called the Windy City.
Yeah.
And how I interpretate that for me in my life is that everything that I have, everything that I need to get what I need to get is already in me. I just got to tap into it because I was already blessed with all this stuff. So
I love it.
I'm ready for the windiness.
I love it. What a perfect way to end. Thank you so much for that. Krystal, it's always a joy to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
No way.
Now, if people want to get in touch with you or maybe have some questions for you, can they reach you on Instagram?
But of course.
And how do they find you?
Everyday Krystal. Just everyday EVERD. Krystal with a K, not a C.
Okay, good.
KRYSTAL.
Excellent. I'm sure you're going to be flooded with questions and maybe asking for more quotes. So thank you so much, Krystal. Be well, and I love seeing you.
You too. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.